about this tear that you've been on and all the different things that you've been doing lately.
Um, Man, it's just really, 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 truly, I attribute all of it to these guys, these coaches that I got. They're just so awesome. Like each of them are different. All of them are different. Their personalities, the way they teach, the way they go about things, super different, but it's still the same thing. And so I really attribute all the success to them because, you know, I learned so much from them. They keep me level headed. They tell me that I suck when I need to suck. Yeah, hey, dude, you suck today. Thanks.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Got you.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another conversation here on the JDG podcast. We are here at City of Wolves here in El Paso, Texas, joined by the lovely Andrea
Hello.
Amaro. How are you?
Good on yourself.
Thank you. I am well. Appreciate your time. You
Thank
know,
you.
we were kind of chopping it up a little bit. I've always known who you were and kind of followed you from afar from social. So it's cool to actually sit down and get to know you a little bit.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. And you're pursuing something a lot of people don't pursue in life, and let alone for a young lady, you know, you like to fight.
I do.
You like to fight, you know what I mean? You like to fight,
I like to wake up and I'm thinking about fighting the boys when I
Yeah.
go into the gym. Yeah, that's what I think about. How am I going to get them today?
Right? You just like we're saying, it's just like different people do different things, and you're just built different. And I was like, oh, I do this. You're like, no, I look forward to it. I was like, oh, you should do safe training. You're like, no, I just try to go after it.
Yeah, I just go with everybody.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Right. That's dope though. But yeah, I reached out to you a while back, and I wanted to sit down and kind of just talk about your career and yourself and everything you got going on with this career. I know you've been training different disciplines and and things like that. So I kind of wanted to sit down and talk to somebody that's kind of really pursuing this. You're already you got a good stride going in your career. So what got you into just training? Period. Any discipline.
So I started when I was 10. Actually, initially I started gymnastics first when I was like about 9. And it was kind of crazy because I was too fat. That's what they told me. So I just kind of stopped gymnastics. And my brother was initially put into martial arts because he was getting bullied. And I would just sit there on the sidelines, kind of just watching. And the coach, well, I actually started Bushido MMA. Um, so the coach was like, "Hey, just try a class. Just come on. Come in, try it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, oh well."
Yeah.
No, I went in and I loved it.
Yeah.
I love martial arts. So my discipline was ninjutsu, and then we still did like kickboxing, and we did like, I guess, basic grappling.
Hmm.
And so that's how I got started, and it was on and off till I was 16, and I didn't come back till I was 19. But it got me. So that's how I started. But fighting wise, I only got started and was consistent um, because I was in like abusive relationship, and I was just trying to keep myself busy. Anything that I wasn't at home, you couldn't really find me. Like, so wherever
Yeah.
I could be,
Out and about just to kind of get away from what was going on, kind of thing,
yeah.
and focus your energy on something that you wanted to do. Right.
Yeah, and I was still running for college. So, like, if I wasn't running, then I was definitely at the gym from the time it opened to the time it closed.
Hey, so talk about that. You ran in college. Like, I know what you said that you used to run when when we were in you were in high school and stuff. But what events or what did you do? Like,
So, I started at a JUCO. So I was here for El Paso Community College. I was part of their. I did a 5K and I did half marathon.
okay.
So I was an All American. I was a 4-time All
What?
American, and I was a 2-time national champ at the half marathon.
No, that's sick. I had no idea. That is so badass, man. The it's cool because like growing up doing different sports and doing different things, it's crazy. Like, I've always been told like, hey, you're pretty athletic because I've always tried doing different things. I was talking about playing hockey and I wrestled. I played tennis. I ran track, and I do jujitsu. I'm like, I'm always like found like athletics is like a good like stress relief and to get away and focus and have goals. So the fact that you're like you didn't even bring up that you freaking ran and like this, you got a fucking athlete here. She's like, oh, that ain't shit. You know what I mean?
Nobody knows stuff like that. Like I did. Like people are like don't even know like I wrestled in high school.
Uh
Like
huh.
they're like they just know me like oh yeah like I grapple and I'm pretty decent at it. But like yeah I wrestled and I have a little background and I've been doing this stuff since I was like little.
That's sick, dude. That's sick. And then another reason that I like having these conversations because a lot of people that support you or know you, they might, we talk about things on the different shows that I have where people are like, oh shit, I've known her for so long, I had no idea. You know what I mean? So it's cool, like having little gems of little knowledge and things that you've done in your career or in your life, and people had no idea, and they can kind of relate to that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and it's fun. And, I just keep those sometimes in the chamber.
Yeah, right. It's like, hey, don't be telling me about my cardio. Yeah, I can go for 5K with no problem.
I am a cardio bunny. Anything that has anything to do with cardio, like I'm in it.
Yeah,
I'm in it. I'm all good. Like I can go all day. I
right.
can go all day.
It's funny when it comes to like combat sports and like, I tell people when we're rolling around, I was like, I'll crush you. I was like, yeah, you will. But eventually, like, there's no striking. You're gonna get tired.
Eventually.
Your big ass is gonna get tired if you don't train or run or anything. Your big ass is gonna get tired, and I'm eventually gonna be able to get away from you.
Yes, in like 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna be huffing and puffing trying to take my little ass down. You'll be like, oh fuck, oh, like all right, my turn, bitch.
Yeah, while you're laying there catching your breath.
Just putting the pressure on you. Well, that's cool that you talked about wrestling and you ran, and then when did you start like you said you did your first class, and then you're like, when was like the amateur career like even a thing? Like, how did that even get brought up?
So I was trained, like I said, I was training while I was still training over here at the JUCO over here, and I was about to go to another school. I got a full scholarship to a D1 school. I was going to go continue running the rest of my years for college. So I got a full ride to NMSU. Went out there, didn't adjust at all. My dad was super sick. I was going through it like it was just not happening. And then I said, I think I'm done running, like running for like college and stuff like that. Like I was done. So I came back. Um, I still continued to train, and I was like working at the mental health hospitals. And the coach was like, "You're always in here, like you're always in here. You're here. Like you look more ready than the girls that are about to fight right now." He's like, "Maybe you should think about fighting." But he told me, "Don't give me an answer. Either you're all in or not at all." And then I was like, "Okay," but I already made up my mind. When he asked me, I was like, "I didn't think about that." But yeah, I was like all in first day. So to me, once I like made up my mind, that was it.
Yeah,
Like that moment was the day I decided all in.
yeah.
Whatever I had to do. Like there was no moment in my career where I like, oh yeah, for sure I can do this and I'm gonna do this full time. No, day one.
Hmm.
Because I'm one of those either you do it right, or you don't do it at all. I'm
Hmm.
just one of those people.
Yeah. And to have the where you were training at the time, to somebody kind of see that from afar, like, what, like, have you thought about this? Because a lot of times that I've said this before too, when I started training, I just did it just to kind of get in shape. And not that I was trying to be a wife beater and just sort of tear anybody up. But at the time, Cristobal, I told this story recently. Chris is like, you should compete, and I'm like, I don't think I was like, you should compete. But then once he kind of put that in my head, I was like, all right, let's get it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You know what I mean? So it's cool because like, when it comes to this, you can't just do it just to do it because you can get hurt. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that I'm seeing from people that I've talked to and kind of from afar. I mean, I've never really been in a fist fight, like, God forbid I have to. but knowing that somebody's in my face that's gonna, trying to impose their will on me. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand how that is, that conflict or whatever. So if you're gonna be in there, you gotta be ready. And the fact that somebody said, "Hey, did you think about this?" Because they saw that you could probably do well in it. They wouldn't tell you just to do it, just to do it.
Yeah, and I was super oblivious too. Like I wasn't thinking about like, yeah, someone's in there to fucking kill me. No, I just super oblivious. Like I was just like, all right, yeah, I think I'll try it. I'll
Mhm.
just go do it. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about like someone like coming to hurt me. I was just thinking, oh, I've competed all the time. Like
Yeah.
it was to me, it was just like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I got this. Like, there's no problem. I got no problem. So talk about like that first fight. Like, where was it? Like, I mean, like, how did it go about? Like, talk about like leading up to that first time, like walking in there.
So first of all, I was kind of the same weight. Maybe like no, I was like I was the same weight, but I was like super runner body. So like I had a runner's body, like so I was super small, and so I was 105. I was cutting down to 105. Terrible weight cut. I didn't know anything about weight cutting. Yes, I was in wrestling, but again, I am super oblivious. I didn't even know weight cutting was a thing. Like I was like, oh, like you cut 2, 3 pounds,
Right.
and I was with these girls, and I'm thinking, you guys are just 3 pounds out. No, these girls are cutting 10 pounds, and I'm like,
What
well,
the
I'm
hell?
just wrestling at my weight. Like I
Yeah.
was just thinking, all right. So the same thing with when I came into fighting, I had no clue about weight cutting or doing anything like that. So I think that first experience was a little like super new to me. It was super rough because I was like, I had no clue what I was doing. It was just kind of winging
Hmm.
it. But other than that, honestly, I didn't even think about like the fight. I couldn't tell you if I was nervous or not because in my head I'm just competing. Like I've competed since I was in middle school. I've competed all like my teenage years. I competed in college. So in my head I'm just like just a competition.
Another day at the office.
Yeah, so I didn't really think about that. Like I train hard. That's all I know. Like gotta train hard.
Yeah.
Um, and just go in there and well, have at
And
it.
let's
Go for
go.
it.
I always find like every time I talk to somebody that's done, competed or done at a certain level, I always like hearing like how they prepare or how they think about certain things. And it always trips me out. Like for me, I'm like butterflies. I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? But other people like, I'm like, what the fuck? I wish I could just be like that.
Well, because I think it gives me anxiety
Yeah.
to be thinking and like fixated on stuff. And um, my husband is the exact opposite. He's super fixated on his fights and how he's gonna do things and all that. And I'm not fixated.
Hmm.
Like I can't sit there and think about my fight. I'm not gonna do that.
Hmm.
I'm just go crazy in my head. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just gonna go do what I'm supposed to go do, and that's it.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
Yeah, and it's cool because you did mention like, hey, I've been competing at such a young age, and that's one benefit of the people that do anything is like if you've been doing it for so long, you know how to manage yourself, and how you said like if I would be thinking about it, it'd be bad. You know what I mean? The fact that the way you carry yourself, that's how what works for you, and that's cool because a lot of people don't understand that you don't have to be super fixated on something. At the same time, the most lax people that works for them too, or something in between.
Yep.
So I always like hearing when like people's psyche when it comes to like doing things.
Yeah, and some people they gotta like pump themselves up, like they gotta get ready, like get mad or whatever, and it's crazy to me because I'm just like, no, I'm
Yeah, I'm
just
just
back
here.
there, I'm just here.
I'm just here chilling. and stuff. So you talked about getting that first amateur fight, and did you win or lose that first fight?
I won. It was in Albuquerque. It was for King of the Cage. Um, Shout out to John Judy.
Nice.
That guy's still around. But yeah, so Albuquerque King of the Cage. I won my first Gammy
And you're like, yeah, that's dope.
fight.
And it's cool because it like, oh my god, you're an animal. You're like, all right, cool. I'll go in there. Yeah, okay, cool, no big deal. Oh, I have to lose weight. All right, cool. Go in there and win. It's so sick. I mean, hearing something like that, like to you, it just like, you were just going through the process, and then we're kind of making light joke of it, but it's cool that you were like, you were focusing at that time, and you did whatever you did, and it wasn't even like on your radar, but the fact that you did it and you did well, you're like, okay, cool. Like, I want to do this again.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is what I have to do. Like, that's it. But like, I'm just one of those people. Like, if I do something cool, or if I'm doing something, or if I do have an accomplishment or something like that, to me, it's like, all right, that's cool. And then like, I don't really like dwell in it too much. To me, it's just like, okay, but that's to me maybe not my my big goal. So maybe I just kind of like, okay, pat on the back, and then I'm like, go back to work.
Right. Hey, that it's so simple like that too with the consistency with anything. Like with these, like I look forward to doing them, and I feel like I'm getting better every time, and I'm always like looking forward to it. But after it's done, I'm like, all right, cool. What's next? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
let's go.
what can I do better? What can I do this? Can I do like I'm always like trying to strive to make little steps better in whatever I do. So the fact that you did the same thing, like, all right, cool, like that was dope. Like for somebody to be like, yeah, that shit is dope. I fucking won my first fight. You're like, man, I wasn't even gonna fight like a month ago. I just was like showing up. And the fact that you did whatever you needed to do and win, and then like, so talk about like going through your amateur career and then leading up to when you decided to go pro.
So first of all, the coach over there, well, Hugo Sira. So he was my coach for a long time since I was 10. So he's known me since I was 10, just like Michael Diaz here. And so um, they had me train for a full year before I even stepped as an AMI. Like that was the commitment to show, are you in it or you're not. So when I said yeah, I committed myself to a year before I had that first AMI fight. And then from then on, in that same year, I fought 5 times, and I went 5-0. And in between, I was doing grappling competitions and all of that stuff. Um, and then, I had a little layoff.
Mhm.
Um, it was a little hard to find me fights after my last fight in that um at the end of that year. I don't know why or whatever. Just fights fell through. I ended up getting like a offer at Tough Enough, and that was my first amateur loss. I lost to Vanessa Demopoulos, who's a veteran. Right now she's in the UFC, um, through an armbar. But again, it's my first year and a half of fighting, um, and uh, and after that, then I took a long hiatus from fighting again. So it was kind of weird. So my AMI and my pro career was super weird because I was on a streak, and then everything just kind of slowed down, and I really didn't even really decide for myself if I was going to go pro. Again, that was all in the hands of my coach at the time. So he decided I would go pro after a year from that loss.
Mm.
So it was like a weird sort of period.
Yeah, and the in between of, I mean, putting your body through training, the regimens, the eating, and then leading up to fights. I just A lot of people don't understand, or they think they understand that you have to mentally, physically be ready, right? And then the fact that you did so much in a short period of time, all of a sudden you took that year to get ready to do that. And the fact that your support and your team was like, all right, you can go pro. And at the time, even though you're like, oh shit, it's been a year, but when you did go pro, what was like that feeling of like, all right, cool, like this is just another day, or just something you look forward to? Like, talk about like the transition of like, okay, now I'm a pro, like now this is like a little higher, like what kind of like were you thinking, and how did you carry yourself throughout that?
I think my transition from my AMI to my pro, it was a weird transition because we just talked about the mindset I had going into that first AMI fight, and that was my mindset always. But the support system I had at the time, not necessarily personally, but in the gym, um, was really bad. So like in my eyes, if I lost, for me it was like, well, I lost. Yeah, your heart hurts, but you move on and you just get back in there. But that wasn't the case for me because again, I let people dictate how I did my career, and so it was a little weird because then I was like more hesitant. Then that fear and anxiety of like, I don't know if I'm ready, or I don't know if I'm good. I don't know. Like, I took such a long period of time, and then the last time I fought, I lost. I didn't get to go back in there and um, put myself back in there and be like, all right, it was just like whatever. It was made into like a big deal of like, oh, you lost, so you got to take a year off.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh shit, like okay. So in my head, like again, oblivious, didn't know anything. I'm just learning as I'm going. And so it was like it was a weird transition and period for me to go through becoming pro. I didn't enjoy it. I can't tell you I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it. Um, and then it was even rough to do my debut because again, at the time they were asking me. My coach was telling me to go down to 105 because I was still too small for the 115 weight class. But I was also too big for the 105 weight class. I was in that in between. So it was really rough for me. Almost died doing a weight cut, doing the pro debut for a 105er. And so that it was just like a lot of things happening all at once in that period.
Mhm.
But when I finally made my pro debut, it was cool. I mean, I won my first pro fight against a really tough opponent. Um, it's funny because we still follow each other.
That's dope.
We still keep tabs. I root for her from afar. Um, super dope. So she was a tough opponent at the time. At the time, I think she was the number one girl in Texas. So it was super cool. So it was like an upset.
Yeah.
So it was super cool. But again, weird period because then again after that, another year off.
Dang. And that's a lot with this game too. I mean, the career of a combat sports, any professional is like the how much time you have. You know what I mean? So like
It's small.
yeah,
People
like
don't realize that.
a layoff of a year is, kind of big twice, you know what I mean? And the fact that you're like, okay, you had a decent amateur career, and you went in whatever you had going on with leading up, you won, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, fuck, I have to wait a whole other year to get going again. But once you started getting that stride and realizing, like, did you like how did was your mindset once you started like knowing that this is something that you wanted to pursue? Like, all right, cool. Now I know what I gotta do. I know what I don't gotta do. The people around me, talk about when did it start making more sense and in the place you were at to keep pursuing this in a healthy way.
It took me a long time because then I did my pro fight, my second pro fight, and they lost. And to be honest with you, um, that one was hard for me. I was going through a lot of stuff. I was previously married. I was going through divorce. Um, you know, a lot of chaos is happening around me, and everybody goes through their own things. Everyone's human. Like going through your own shit outside the gym. Life is hard. Um, but then to come into the gym and inside the gym, you're having to fight about you're having to fight to train. There's no trains happening. There's the support is very little. You don't have a team behind you that believes in you. It's kind of rough. And for me, it was like I felt like a lack of support or like this pressure from my coach at the time that my life had to be perfect in order to fight. I can't have problems. There was no problems that could be happening in my life. If there were, then I suffer the consequences through. Well, you can't fight.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you fight. What? Before? But to me, I was just like, that's just my life. Like it's
Hmm.
been like that. Like even it's always been like that. And so for me, I'm just like, it was kind of like a standstill. So I had to make the choice. I moved to Arizona for a year. I had to figure it out. I was a correctional officer for a little bit. Um, I trained at Fight Ready over there, to get the understanding and feel of what these top teams are doing and to put myself out of my environment, what I'm used to. It was a huge change. I was there and I was going nowhere with it still because again, I'm in a job that requires me to be there 80 hours a week. I'm trying to be consistent in the gym, at least showing up in the mornings every day. On my days off, at least showing up twice. It's tough. Waking up at 3 and then getting out at 10 at night. It's crazy. And my dad got sick, super sick, basically. Again, I didn't know if he was gonna make it or not. So I decided to come back home. And again, I coming back to my home gym, and things still didn't take off. It was like I was still at a standstill. So we're talking about almost 3 years of me taking a layoff. Like it's crazy. Like the years in between, and then that huge layoff. So it was just like, what am I doing?
Mhm.
Like I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like this has to happen. And so I came back home. I kind of asked different people like to kind of like let me cross train and let me rep them along with my home gym so I can make it. And my dad passed away later that year, and that was like my turning point. My dad died, and anybody that I thought was my friend was not my friend. Anybody I thought that was in my corner was not in my corner. Um, you know, you know, and I realized that the coach I had was not in my corner either. I had to get rid of that person. Like, for me, I'm pretty loyal, like to the end. That's for me. Like, but like, if you're not supporting me, you're not seeing the vision of where I'm trying to go, or you don't think that we're gonna get there, you don't believe in me, then I don't need you there. So I know it's wrong. I know some people might say it's wrong, some people might not. But I left without no words.
Mhm.
I left without no words. I felt like I've given my time and due diligence at that gym, and I felt like, um, you know, it was just time for me to go my separate ways.
Mhm.
So I stopped, and I got a team full of coaches here from different gyms, and that's when I decided that I had to go all in at that moment
Mhm.
and do things differently, and I had to manage. I had to take charge of my training,
Yeah.
and that's when it started going.
That's you know the fact that you lost a parent. I've lost a parent too, and I lost my mom, so that's tough too because you have like an epiphany, right?
Hmm.
It was like I had an epiphany about 4.5 years ago, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? Like at that time, like I was like in between jobs, like I was telling you what I was doing before, not working. And something so drastic that happened in my life made me realize like I could do better. Like what can I do to do better and not worry about what anybody wants to do or doesn't want to do. So the fact that you said that, I can relate to that just in my own way. Cause yeah, unfortunately, like it was terrible that that happened, but at the same time, you kind of put your life in perspective. All of a sudden, like, you know what the fuck am I doing? Like, this makes no sense here. I need to do something. I need to remove myself from this environment, or I need to pursue this way. And it sucks that sometimes that's happened in life, but that's how you grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for sure, my dad passing away really opened my eyes. My dad was sick for more than half my life, so I saw him deteriorate pretty much since I was 8 till I was 25. So, but that man, me and him didn't really have a good relationship. We definitely didn't. But I admired my dad because, you can't help but admire somebody who's so sick. They can barely walk, they can barely do stuff, and he found a way. He found a way how to make money. He found a way to continue his hobbies. Like the man was in crutches. He had amputated toes, and he was going outside. He has kidney failure. He had kidney failure and stuff like that, and he was going outside working on cars, all kinds of stuff. So when he died, and in my head, I'm just like, what are my excuses? Like, why do I keep, um, things just keep happening like in my life, like that's just so chaotic, and I just can't get it together. And the epiphany was because I don't stand up for myself. I don't stand up for myself. I don't speak for myself, and I don't just take charge of what I can control, which is me. And so when I figured that out, I was like, okay, well then, fuck everybody else. I need to figure out my own shit. Who cares what this person thinks, that person thinks? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I had to figure it out, and I decided just to get the right people um, behind me, and that's all I needed.
Yeah.
Just those people.
It's cool because like in we were talking about earlier, just as you're getting older, you start realizing who's around you and who's not. If anything, like my circle of friends is like smaller. I mean, I know a lot of people and I have acquaintances and good relationships with people, but like my small group of friends and my family is like all I really do need. And that's like it's important to have that support system and have people that truly look out for you or and want to do good for you, and a lot of people have that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's unfortunate. I always feel fortunate. I've had two best friends that I've known for freaking almost 30 years. We grew up with the same street together, and we're still best friends now. You know what I mean? And it's fucking crazy. And then some people like, how long have you known best friend? Oh, 2 years. And we've always pushed each other in the right way because we've had, we all are on the same age, so we all related to each other and having that good positive, you know, support. A lot of people don't understand it, and I'm fortunate. So when I hear people say, getting out of shitty situations and being better, I love hearing that because a lot of people don't understand that you can get out of whatever situation you're in, and how you said you hold yourself accountable and you're like, you know what, fuck, like, what the fuck could I do? You know what I mean?
What
And
am I doing
yeah,
wrong?
you know what I mean? But you got to look inward, right? And a lot of people don't have the courage or don't know how to, but having these conversations, like, is cool because I like that. I've had so many people come, hey, I heard you talking to so and so, and I thought about it and it helped me out. So the fact that you shared a lot of your personal things, I appreciate it because, that's not a lot of people don't feel comfortable or want to talk about that kind of thing. And the fact that you had so many different things, you're like, I had a chaotic life, and you still were striving to do something that it's out of the norm. You know what I mean? And I respect the fuck out of that.
Yeah, and you see these fighters now, and I'm telling them I had to learn just going through it. And that's all you got to do. When people give you a piece of advice, I mean, you can hear it, you kind of get it, but you don't get it until you go through it, and you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about.
Hmm.
You're your own person. Like you have to make those decisions. You're in charge of yourself. The things that happen in our lives most of the time we're responsible for
Yep.
it. We're accountable for it. How did we let that happen, or how did we end up there? It was a series of choices,
Hmm.
and so or events.
Yeah.
So that's how I started like thinking like, all right, you know, I need to stop doing what I'm doing, like and doing things like this, and I need to start responding and to situations I needed to start responding in situations to it in a different manner.
Hmm.
I couldn't just continue like, oh, okay, let me stop my whole life. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and then I had to start from zero again.
Yep.
It makes no sense.
Hmm.
We no progression.
Hmm. And I love that you said that because everybody has, you said it around, everybody has shit going on. Everybody has stuff going on, and being able to maintain and make your moves and be positive and kind of keep moving forward, with all that stuff that you had going on. Let's talk about this fucking fight win streak you got going on. You know
Ah!
what I mean? Like all that bullshit in the past. Let's talk about what's going on now. Like, how is like the training now that you found like a good home, you found like the right type of people to be around, a good community, a good environment. I think that that's one of the biggest things that I've seen when people get around the right type of people. You see that person just flourish even more, especially when it comes to athletics or anything that that it's an individual person, but it's a team around. You have to have the right type of people around you to be better, be a better version of yourself. So talk about like, this tear that you've been on and all the different things that you've been doing lately.
um, Man, it's just really, 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 truly. I attribute all of it to these guys, these coaches that I got. They're just so awesome. Like each of them are different. All of them are different. Their personalities, the way they teach, the way they go about things, super different, but it's still the same thing. And so I really attribute all the success to them because, you know, I learn so much from them. They keep me level headed. They tell me that I suck when I need to suck. Yeah, hey dude, you suck today. Thanks.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Got you. Or you're like, hey, you're gonna come to class today? What? You're scared? And it's it just lights a fire under you. You're like, what do you mean I'm scared? I'm not scared of you. You're like, so it's just so awesome. Like they've made like the environment and the training fun. It's not a job. It doesn't feel like I'm working. Like I'm coming in, I'm coming to work, but it's also to have fun. You're supposed to have fun. As long as you do this sport, if you're not having fun, if you don't find some joy in it, um this sport will eat you alive. Like for real, it's just that's how much how hard it is on you. But these guys really like keep
Yeah.
that energy
Yeah.
alive. Like I'm just excited when I wake up and I'm excited to go to
Hell
practice.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna beat me up. Well, there's that chance that I might beat you up
Yeah.
today. Or like we got our guy here, Millie Mouse. He's funny, even on his bad days. And I know when he's having a bad day, because he comes in and he's like, hey, did you bring your A game? I'm like, because I hope you brought it. He didn't bring his A game, but he's like happing himself up because
Yeah.
he's like, that's how he gets it. It's like that competition.
Yeah.
It's that friendly competition. It's that, man. It's just like we talked about it, that
Yeah.
camaraderie,
Yeah.
and it's just out of this world.
Yeah.
All of these guys just out of this world.
Yeah.
They've just been super awesome.
That's so cool because like I train at Grind, and I came from 10th and I went to Grind, and it's in the Northeast. That's the only reason I was like, I want to train in the Northeast with my schedule and what my life going on. I was like, I want to train, but I don't want to drive across town. And when I went to Grind, shout out to Professor Justin, man. I've known of him, and I, started training there and getting to know everybody. Now it just like exactly like that. I show up with my kids, we're fucking around, like it's a good environment. But when we're training, we're pushing each other in the right different ways. But it's good to have that healthy environment, that banter, that camaraderie, because then everybody's actually just trying to get better too. And then it's a stress relief from what you got going on out there, to come here
Yeah,
and sweat, get a good cardio, hang out with your friends, crack jokes, and then try to strangle each other or punch each other in the face. And it's a win-win, you know what I mean? And I love hearing that you're happy with you're at and where you've been and stuff like that. And you found a home and having all the type of people, because that's what it's all about. Having that kind of stuff in the banter and the joking is dope. I love having that. I look forward to going to the gym. Like, I was gonna fuck around. And then one of my teammates, shout out to Matt John, he's like my size, but he's 18 years old, and he fucking, when he wants to destroy me, he would destroy me. But it's just like so humbling. But at the same time, he's like smiling, and we're all having a good time.
I've
Just like,
actually
goddamn.
I've sparred with him. Yeah, that's exactly how he is. He's like, yeah, I'm good, and then I'm like, oh, at any moment I can destroy you. Just know that.
It's just so crazy, but it's cool to have that banter and that the relationships and the friendships that you build because of that. It's a healthy relationship to have with teammates and things like that is dope. So I love hearing that. It's cool. And um, let's talk about, you won your last fight. You're on a 5 win streak, and how do you balance everything? Like, obviously you talked about how it used to be. Now talk about how it is now. Now that you're in a healthier spot as far as training, talk about like just balancing everything, your personal life, your gym life, whatever you got going on. Like, talk about all the juggling that you do.
Oh man, it's kind of tough. The personal life, it's just tough. But you know what is the beauty of it is that my friends and stuff like that, they get it. Yeah, my family, I have a very small family, so it's like we're always together. So it's just like we live with each other. So it's just like we see each other, we have dinner with each other every now and then, stuff like that. But honestly, my personal life and my family life has always been like kind of like on the back burner. Unfortunately. So it's like I don't juggle. I just kind of try to figure it out when I can. Um, but to me, training and fighting takes priority, and then I have school.
Mhm.
So I train, I go to school, and that's my life. Right now, I my window, like we've talked about. spent all that time doing that. So like my window is very small. So right now I'm on a mission.
Yeah.
So my mission is I'm gonna do whatever I can to get where I need to be. And so if that means going to go grapple, go testing myself out, putting myself out there, whatever I have to do, that's what I'm gonna go do.
That's what's up.
And so right now everybody just has to understand because I I'm thinking about myself right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to do. Look
Hmm.
out for myself right now.
I like that because like since I've been doing this too, like I've like a lot of like going out is on the back burner, hanging out with friends, and a lot of people know too. It's not like this takes up a lot of my time, but I'm married, I have kids, I have a job, and there's things I gotta do to do this before I do anything else. You know what I mean? And then over time, like people understand, like I'm not gonna go just hang out, like, and plus it's not really on my radar to really go hang out or and things like that. I'm just like either at home editing, having great conversations like this, or just honing my craft. I'm always like on YouTube learning how to do things with camera and lighting and shit like that. Cause how you said, like I'm focused on what I want to do. And this is what I really want to pursue this and see where it goes. And if it'd be a shame if I'm not putting the effort and time and thinking that I'm gonna
Get
something
somewhere.
out of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm realistic. I'm not saying I'm like trying to aim to be a millionaire, but I feel like if I keep doing this and I enjoy doing it and look forward to doing it and learning different things every damn day, this is dope. And everything else is kind of not as important as I thought it used to be.
Yeah, and it's just and, that's just what it is. We all have goals. We all have dreams, and you gotta some things have to be sacrificed. And like for me too, it's just more like my purpose is like before like I was just a fighter. I was just a fighter, and I've had a rough upbringing and stuff like that. But now it's like like we talked about, a parent dies, you're like, well, I really don't have a lot of time. So it's like perspective. Like I sacrificed family a lot. So for me, you know, I owe it to myself and to my family and my friends and coaches who put so much time into me to finish what I started. So I have to finish.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I love hearing that shit, man. I every time that I talk to people, and like I get energy from people like hearing that kind of stuff because like I could translate it in my own way. Like that's dope because like even though we're doing things that are separate, you're pretty much doing everything that I'm doing too, and it's cool hearing that people the way they navigate and deal with their life and what they got going on to prioritize what's important to them. Prioritize like, hey, I'm here for a short period of time. Like nothing's promised. So like I would hate the fact that oh shit. I would hate the fact that I didn't do something because of time. You got it. What?
Definitely not me. It's the blue alerts. My
Hey,
bad.
it's all good. But yeah, like just being able to focus on the time and like I'm only here for X amount of time. And then how you said my window to fight is even smaller. So let's talk about that. Like now that you got a good team, you're in a good headspace, you're prioritizing everything you need to do. Talk about like your realistic or ideal career in MMA. Like what are your like hopes and dreams like within the next 1 to 5 years of this of doing this?
So I tell everyone I'm done at 35. Realistically, if I haven't done anything by then and fighting, by 35, like kind of done. You know, like I said, like this is a young man's sport, and so I'm hoping in the next year to five, you know, I'm I make it to the UFC. Like I'm not hoping. I know I'm gonna be there. And I'm just trying to get as far as I can. However, however I can get it. So that's the goal. Like how far can I go?
Mhm.
That's what I'm trying to get. I know I'll get in. I know I'll get my opportunity. But it's about how far will I go.
Mhm.
And so I'm just gonna keep going until and see where it takes
Yeah.
us.
I like that it's so simple, but it's true. It's like I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm supposed to do, and I know that as if I keep doing what I'm supposed to do, it's gonna lead to something that's the bigger goal. Yeah.
Yeah, and the opportunity is here. It's knocking.
Mhm.
They've already told me, it's here. You know how I'm gonna get it, I don't know.
Mhm.
People, they go to contender series. Some people, they get, have to replace somebody. So I'm always thinking, I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to replace somebody. So that's why we're just training. That's why,
Yeah.
again, focused. We're focused. We're going. We're going. We're going because you never know when opportunities come up like that. And what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
No, no, I'm not ready because I need like 3 months to get ready.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, I'm ready now. I'm ready to go tomorrow. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Dude, that's fucking to give me chills. You're a fucking animal. You know, just because, yeah, because you're like, I'm already training every day. It's not anything different. The fact that, I mean, I don't know how with your weight and stuff like that. Other than that, I mean, you're eating decent, you're fighting, you're training, you're taking care of yourself. So if a opportunity comes like that happens, you're ready. You know what I mean? Because you're right. Like, with fights that get withdrawn or happen or don't, the the opportunity of you raising your hand might be the reason that you get to go to your next step in your career.
And people don't understand this, or they don't know where we live. We live in El Paso, and I know, like, yes, we're a big city, but our community here in the fight scene, it's still growing, and nobody has like, yes, we do have a few, like we have Andy Varela who's in Vegas now. We have Fernie Garcia who made it, but he's in Dallas. Those guys had to leave. Nobody has been born, raised, and bred here. So purely. So to me, s- you know, you don't say no to opportunities,
Hmm.
especially here.
Hmm.
Not a lot of people know, like, oh, where's El Paso? Oh, yeah, you're from El Paso. Oh, that place you train at is badass.
Yeah.
No, nobody knows that yet.
Hmm.
So somebody has to make it happen. So somebody has to make it happen. Who's gonna make it happen? I don't know, but I'm trying to do it. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to, you know, work hard and honestly give credibility to these freaking guys. These guys behind me. Like I can't say enough good things about them. Like for them to have that credibility, like they're world class coaches. In
Hmm.
my eyes, they're world class coaches. I go anywhere else, nothing I'm being shown, taught, I'm seeing is different than what we have here.
That's what's up.
So I've seen it.
Hmm.
I've seen it. I've trained in San Diego. I've trained in Austin. I've seen it in Vegas. I've seen it. I've seen what world class looks like. So we have it here. I don't know if people know that, but we have it here.
That's what's up. Yeah. With that being said, like, with everything you've dealt with and gone through, what is some advice and tips to, things to, not that you regret your journey, because that's one thing I always tell people, like, I don't regret what I didn't do or I did do, because it wouldn't be me. So I always feel like anytime that I can give advice on anything that I feel like I've gone through, I try to just say my perspective or things that I've talked about. So like somebody that might be listening or watching, they might want to be pursuing an amateur career or pursuing a pro career. What are like some things that, are like things that they should be on their radar, paying attention, that, to be successful, in doing this?
I think being open minded, first and foremost. A lot of people think they have it all figured out. They know what they got to do. They know it all. No, you don't. I don't know it all. I don't, and I'm not afraid to say or point someone in the direction that they need to because I don't have the answers. So being open minded is number one. Always be willing to learn. Always be willing to hear out whatever people have to say to you when they're trying to give you advice on your journey because that's the only way to grow. Only way to grow. So being open, being consistent. Cannot just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna train for this fight camp and then fall off. Or hey, I'm gonna do everything else but jujitsu. You never started a jujitsu class? That's crazy. Or you're not doing any striking? How can you miss a huge part of the process? So consistency, being open, and just being a good vibe. Don't make it too serious. It's not serious. It is serious, but it's not serious. Like if you want to be in the sport long, I do feel you have to have a love for it. And the only way that love stays there is if you have the right people and make it fun. And don't be so full of yourself. It's okay for you to come in and, well, blue belt tapped you out by accident, a white belt did, or you got beat up that day. It's okay. It's okay to have bad days. But just showing up on your good days, your bad days, your sad days, you're tired, whatever, show up. That's all. That's the advice I would say to anybody. Show up. It doesn't matter how you feel. Show up. If you continue to show up,
Good
you'll
things will
see. Yeah, good things will happen. It's hard to deny somebody. You
Yeah.
keep knocking at the door, you know, things will happen.
So and last, it's cool because like I had said, like I've known of you and I've kind of followed you from afar, and it's cool. It's kind of like, hey, that's dope. She's out here repping El Paso in the Southwest. You know what I mean? Because you know, being a fighter alone is a small percentage, and then being a female fighter is even a smaller percentage. You know what I mean? To pursue something, and it's cool that you're navigating, and you seem like you're in a good headspace, and what you got going on with your team, and that I love hearing that kind of stuff because you know we don't get enough credit out here too in El Paso. I hate saying that. It is what it is. I've traveled a lot and people don't know where this is, but there's opportunity here too. But at the same time, being open to other opportunities and pursuing different things in different ways is not a bad way to do it too. I mean, you can still rep El Paso, but
Yeah.
if something makes sense for you to go somewhere and it makes sense, like, no, I'm gonna just stay here. You know what I mean?
No,
What I mean? That makes no sense. You know
if
what I
it
mean?
makes sense, go do it.
Mhm.
My choice was to stay here. My choice is not. Like, to me, it's super special, and to me, to be able to, like, go up and be up there and be successful, but with local
That's
guys.
what's up.
Like, how can we grow our city? How can we grow our community? How can we bring opportunities here if nobody knows where we
Yeah,
are, who we are?
yeah,
So to me, that's super important. Not just for me, but for these guys behind me.
that's cool. I like that every damn time you kept talking about them, 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 because it's cool. Because yeah, you are doing a lot of the work, but they help you, and you guys are a unit and a team, and it's cool. Because like now that I'm seeing and I'm getting to know people in the area for fighting, it's cool seeing people how they navigate and their cliques and their teams. It's cool. You know what I mean? Because like the people that are like more like doing well have all that. And if they don't, you can just tell that
It's not together.
you know what I mean? And even though it's an individual sport while you're in there, it's just like having that team around you and the support system and everything else. Those are all the right type of pieces that it took you time to get there. But now you're like, fuck yeah. Like, and then, you're talking about the city. That's so dope. You know what I mean? Everywhere I go, it's like, yeah, I'm from El Paso and shit like that, and like, because we have dope people here too in all different aspects of life and
Yeah.
business, you know what I mean? So I don't know, it's like an El Paso thing. We're always proud to say where we're from, and the fact that you're talking about that, yeah, I want people to know that we're from here and we got world class coaches here. Yeah. We're a small city and we might people, but we have everything here to be successful.
And people just have to be willing to go find it. If
Mhm.
you want if you want something, make it happen. Go find the work. The work is here. If you just gotta go find it.
Mhm.
Right now it's just like one of those things, like, not everything's at one place. But we got world class people.
Mhm.
There are people here that want to work with each other. There are people who are willing to be in your corner. You know, also it's just being mindful. People respecting people's time, respecting them and their craft, and um, what they do. And that's mainly how I've managed to keep my relationships with these guys. They're all from different gyms.
Mhm.
You know, so again, that would be kind of like, well, that's not kind of in my best interest, but all of them bring something to the table, and I respect them all for that in their own way. I don't go in and step on their toes, and if I did do something, I'm the first one to be like, all right, I shouldn't have gone about it this way, whatever. Because these guys, they work hard. The last thing you want to do is take something from them.
Mhm.
And they've treated me so well, and they've brought me in, and they've catered to me.
Yeah.
So you talk to them, I am a brat. I am spoiled. I am like a little princess. So that's why I keep talking about them, because they don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
And so they treat me like a princess, and they do whatever I need to do. They help me out with everything. They're always with me. So
Yeah.
how can I complain? How
Yeah.
can I even say one little
Negative thing,
bad thing
yeah.
about
That's so
them.
dope. That's dope, man. Well, I appreciate your time and talking about everything your life and different struggles and victories and things like that. I really do appreciate your time. It's cool, and I look forward to getting to know you more and continue supporting you from afar. But before we get out of here, where could they find you? Plug the gyms, plug the coaches in, and let everybody know what's up.
You can find me at Drea Virginia MMA underscore. And if you guys want to go train, got the places that I'm training, City Wolves right here, 10th Planet El Paso, Zen Martial Arts, and Elite Kickboxing Academy.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's so cool, man. So thank you so much for your time. Um, if you guys are watching for the first time, or we appreciate you. I'm always trying to talk to positive people, things that are going on in people's lives. I feel like I'm fortunate enough to sit down with people that have positive things because every time I sit down and talk to somebody, I feel like I learn a new perspective on life and the way that I carry myself and how somebody else carries themselves. And I feel like I learned something, so I appreciate that. And I'm always mindful too of people's time. A lot of people don't understand like people's time is just. I hate when people say something or do something and they don't do it. I'm just like, come on, like, I mean, like I'm doing this for X amount of time and you're doing this. So I always say it every damn time. I appreciate your time, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, you guys could find and listen to all these podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Jimmy Duke's Gaming. Don't let the gaming fool you. I'm always trying to talk to different people and do different things. You'll see me at combat sports and jujitsu events, or maybe on the mats getting my ass kicked, man. But until next time, thank you. Peace out, homies. Y'all take care.